There's a new me coming out, and I just have to live, and I wanna give. I'm completely positive. I think this time around I am gonna do it like you never knew it. Oh, I'll make it through. The time has come for me to break out of the shell. I have to shout that I am coming out. I'm coming out. I want the world to know.
One.
Welcome to the show, Never Too Late Ever, where we focus on making the next chapter of your life the very best chapter ever. I am your host, Lorraine Oving, and I am so glad you are joining us today. This day will change your life. Open your heart, your ears, and listen, and you will find a gem, a treasure that you can apply to your life today. And I am thrilled today to have Naomi Carmona-Morshead. Did I pronounce it right?
Perfectly.
You actually spaced it out for me, and I thought, I'm going to get this, because oftentimes I can, I get so excited that I can butcher a name, but I got this Carmona-Morshead. How beautiful is that?
Thank you.
Well,
thank you so much.
I am so happy to have you today, and hang on, everybody, because this is going to be quite the show. I want to tell you a little bit about Naomi first before we start. She's an adventure mountain climber and an inspirational speaker. She is passionate about inspiring midlifers to overcome every obstacle. I love that. Co-author of 4 books, including Reach for Greatness. Naomi rocks the stage on 5 continents, amazing, with empowering stories that relate to the struggles of overcoming physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual challenges. You can have peace in the midst of today's circumstances, even amidst the crisis, and be energized to rise up to every challenge. Welcome, Naomi.
Wow, all the way from Hawaii. I'm in Southern California with beautiful blue skies.
Tell us a little bit, beautiful blue skies. Well, I've got them here too. Tell us a little bit about who you are, maybe how many children you've had, just a little bit about Naomi.
I'm the grandmother of 7. I have 7 children. 3 are my own and 4 are stepchildren. My late husband is in heaven, and my new husband, I've been married almost 17 years. And we just travel the world and make adventures.
Wow. Now that sounds exciting. 7 grandchildren. You're blessed.
I'm blessed.
Okay, today you entitled the show for today. Now, Naomi's going to be back for 2 weeks, and I know after today you're going to want to hear her next week too. The show today is called Just Like You, I Am Worried About Tomorrow. So what did you mean by that title, Just Like You, I'm Worried About Tomorrow? Give us some insight into that, Naomi.
Well, just like you, I have children and grandchildren, and they're all over the world. My daughter manages a very powerful 4-nation strategic planning for the healthcare in England and the United Kingdom, Wales, and Ireland. I haven't seen her in 5 years. Without technology, I would be really worried about her, but I get a chance to see her and talk to her, no matter where she travels in the UK or in Europe. I have another daughter in Hawaii. I've got 2 sons here and a stepdaughter. I have a daughter in Chicago. I have a daughter in Washington, D.C. I am a mother. So just like you, I worry about how they're going to manage in this crisis. And why I say that is because without a foundation, I would be more worried. But with the foundation of who I am, with the love of family, the way that we spend our time together, the way I grew up traveling with my family, singing together, all those pieces have created a place that while I worry, I'm not worried extremely. I'm not anxious. I'm going to be at peace because tomorrow will come and the sun will come up and I will be here serving and being willing to serve others just like people want to serve me, just like you.
So what is the basis of your foundation? What is that? Just the trust that everything is going to be okay? How you were raised?
Well, exactly. So how I was raised was by faith, and my parents traveled a lot, and we're working with migrant families, and then in Mexico. And so I've been to a few different cultures, and as I see, I'm in such gratitude for what I do have. I've always had a roof over my head. I've always had food, not 3 meals a day, but I've always had food to eat, and I haven't been impoverished. And so I'm so grateful that I have that opportunity to look where I am, look where I was, and look where I want to go, which is serving those who don't have.
Right, right. I love that. So one of your foundations is the gratitude, but also because of the gratitude is serving others. I love it. And when did you decide to take control of your life? What were the steps in that?
Well, I was born with a congenital heart defect, which means my structure was broken, and I was not expected to live past 10.
Wow.
At age 10, after 3 cancellations of the open heart surgery, because this is in the pioneering days when they just barely started doing heart surgeries, the night before heart surgery, I heard my dad out in the lobby of the hospital. So I'm in a freezing little bed all by myself, and I hear him say, "Don't anybody mention death. She doesn't know, she might not make it."
Oh gosh, and you overheard that. Oh.
I overheard it because, the nurses coming in and out, the door swinging open and closed. Then they come in and kiss me and say goodnight and say the prayers. And I felt like I'd been abandoned. And that night is when I took control, and I started talking to God, and I said, okay, so if that's how it's going to be, I will trust only in you. If I wake up tomorrow after the surgery, I'll know you have a plan for me, that I should be here. But if it's like my dad said, okay, never mind. I've done everything I can. I'm just okay. That caused an emotional divorce from my parents, in the sense I stopped trusting everything they said, but it caused a huge connection with the Almighty. And I use that name that's above every name for almost every decision I make. And that's why I say I've taken control of my life, because I get to choose who I talk to each and every day.
Wow. That's an amazing story at 10 years old, to hear your dad say that. And but what it did was it changed your life in the fact that then you began to trust in somebody bigger than your dad or your mom. You trusted in God. And that's an amazing story, because my dad died when I was 11, and I know how impactful that has been in my life. And this happened to you at 10. So I understand. I can go right back there and how that would affect you. So that's an amazing story. So then you began to trust in God. Who is the most influential person in your young life? And who is it today?
I would say my grandmother on my father's side, Grandma Kepner. I was the first girl grandchild, and I got to spend every summer with her on the farm, and we would go out, pick the vegetables, and we can the vegetables and spend a lot of time together. And my sister wasn't born for 3 more years, and she was the first next girl. And the boys were always out in the field with grandpa and uncles and all that. But I got to spend time with grandma, and she really poured into my life faith, ability to do anything with small resources, how to take every piece of what you have and use it. And she wrote me letters after I moved away at age 5. I only saw her every 3 summers, but she would write and she would call. And those are the days when the phone was like a brick, and the phone calls were very expensive.
Yeah.
But she managed to say, "Sweetie heart, I love you so much," every call.
Right.
And that built up my faith in a person who was backing me up, in addition to, of course, my relationship with God. Today, who is my relationship? The most important relationship is still with God. And I think that I am really convinced that to influence myself, I need to give to others. I need to serve. And so I'm looking at every conversation I have, including with you today. What connection could I make that would empower you, would give you more incentive to stand up for yourself, which, by the way, that's my word for 2020, stand. Stand.
Uh-huh.
Stand up for yourself and stand up for others and find a way to encourage them in the smallest way, because that influence is based on me always being a learner. So I choose to always learn. And in learning, then I can be quiet. I can be outspoken. I can climb a mountain. I can hug my grandchild. I can spend time just being alone. All those things are influential on my life because that's what brings the balance, not one thing more than the other. So I think today's influence is my choices and my gratitude for being able to make those choices. I'm not stuck in a survival mode, but just like you, I have been in survival mode. I've had several incidents in my life climbing 100 hikes on 34 mountains. I've had a number of crises that I had to make some decisions. And so just like you, I had to have a plan in place.
Right. Now you mentioned that your first husband had died. Was that one of your crises, Naomi?
Absolutely. Yeah. When he died, I had just lost my job. I had a tour company for 25 years, and then I had to take a job to get health insurance for him. And I lost my job, and 30 days later, he died. Exactly 30 days.
Oh my gosh.
And then exactly 9 months after that, I was hit by a car and thrown down the freeway. And that took me 2.5 years to recover. And that's where I learned a ton of lessons and a ton of resources. And I trained myself to get out of bed every day. I trained myself to not speak backwards. I trained myself to write again when my fingers, my little finger wouldn't even touch my thumb when I wanted to close my hand. All of those kind of things were huge, huge needs for resources. I had to depend on myself for the training and then to focus on one thing at a time consistently to get my hand back. Because when I first realized I couldn't hold a pick and play the guitar anymore, I screamed.
Right.
I was just like you, petrified that I wouldn't have my music anymore. But then I found out there was a pick you could wrap around your thumb. So then I started to play little by little by little. I got an auto harp, which doesn't require two hands, it requires two hands, but not as much as a guitar. I started playing the auto harp to get my music back in my spirit. And that focus of wanting so badly to have my music back in my life that I could create caused me to overcome. So just like you, there's things that are going to be worrisome, but finding the solution, finding the person who can help, and then focusing on that until you get it done.
That story is beautiful because you had mentioned that you sang as a child, so music was a huge part, and you just found a way to make it still happen because music was such a part. So name some tips for somebody that maybe is going through some crisis today. Name some tips that you actually use. That's one of them. You created a way to still do music, even though it wasn't obvious with the pick. You created ways. So name some other things. Say somebody's going through maybe a death in the family or a divorce or whatever. What are some tips right now in their life that they can put into place today? Because they're waking up and maybe they're grieving or they're sad that their marriage has ended. What are some tips to get right now to get them out and get them thinking about positive things? Because it's so hard when you're in the muck, right? When you're in the mess, it's really hard. So what are some of your favorite tips on how to survive?
So I say train the brain.
Train the brain.
Train the brain. Get up in the morning and make a decision that today is going to be a great day. So it's not just positive thinking, it's actually making that declaration. And then during the day when something comes up that is an obstacle, you go, well, today is a great day. I wonder how I can see that differently. Instead of hearing the negative part, which actually is very strong in our minds right now, isn't it? Just like you, I'm thinking, oh, what are we going to do now? The store is closed. We can't